Get ready. Hold on to your hats. Strap on your seatbelts. Get ready for the ride of your life. The show with no name time. Let's go. Hello and welcome to another exciting edition of The Show with No Name. And you might wonder, tu wondras preguntarte, why this show doesn't have a name. Well, why not? Why not? Does everything need a name? It's that crazy English show where we have different sections and we learn about a lot of different things. So call it what you want. You don't have to categorize everything. This is a variety show. Di la palabra conmigo, variety. Es difícil esta, ¿eh? A variety show. Hay un poco de todo. We learn English from music, from movies, from humor, and most of all, by playing games and challenging you. Are you ready for a challenge? Of course you are. Of course you're ready for a challenge. I'm going to give you 3 examples. Only one of them is correct, and it's your job, your responsibility, to tell me which one it is. So listen up. Listen up. Es presta atención. Listen up. A. Would you mind opening the window? ¿Te importaría? Would you mind opening the window? Does that sound right to you? What about B? Would you mind to open the window? B. Would you mind to open the window? Or maybe C. Would you mind open the window? Sin el tú en este caso. C. Would you mind open the window? Which one do you think is correct? Did you say C? No. No. B? Tampoco. No. So then it must be A, right? Yes. Let's look at it here. Now, I think what happens is a lot of students mix it up, lo confunden, con would you like to. En esa estructura sí que empleamos el infinitivo. Would you like to? ¿Te gustaría? Pero eso no es la pregunta. Aquí es ¿te importaría? Ambos tienen el ia, ¿no? Pero no tienen nada que ver en inglés, al menos la estructura y el significado. So, would you like to open the window? ¿Te gustaría abrirlo? Would you mind opening the window? Y yo sé por qué os liáis, no solo porque lo confundéis con esa estructura, pero también en español, ¿te importaría abrir? No es abriendo, es abrir. Entonces, en tu cabeza quieres decir abrir. So, ¿cómo se practica? Let's make a list. Usa todos los verbos que sabes. Would you mind opening the window? Would you mind keeping your voice down? Would you mind helping me out? Would you mind eating that more quietly, please? Would you mind taking me to the center? Would you mind lending me a pen? Practícalo. Practice it with all the verbs you know. And remember, practice it aloud because I don't want you to just recognize it when it's written, but I want you to recognize it when you hear it, and more importantly, know how to use it and use it correctly. So, would you mind practicing this structure aloud?
Homophones on the show with no name. It's homophones time, cause homophones rhyme.
Hello and welcome to Homophones, where we look at words that may or may not sound the same. You be the judge. That's right, you be the judge is another way of saying you decide. Now I'll tell you if you're right or wrong. Remember, in English we don't say I have the reason. ¿Cómo decimos tengo razón o tengo la razón? I'm right. How would you say no tienes la razón? Well, you can say you aren't right, pero no es mucho más fácil decir you're wrong. So to be right or to be wrong. If you say you have reason, sería más razonamiento, ¿no? Pero ya ahí se diría you're reasonable, ¿no? That was a reasonable decision. So cuidado con ese, porque sí que es parecido, pero no. En ese caso, no. Tener la razón es to be right. Y una de mis frases favoritas en inglés,
después de decir algo le dices al amigo, am I right or am I right? O sea, no le das una opción de decir que no tienes la razón. ¿Tengo la razón o tengo la razón? Am I right or am I right? All right, well, the first word is montar. Okay, montar. También es atracción. O sea, si dices, me gusta montarme en atracciones, tienes un double trouble. All right? The first word, montar, lo que hacemos en un caballo, right? Lo que hacemos en un tren, lo que hacemos en una moto, right? O, como acabo de decir, una atracción, que se puede decir attraction, pero hay otra palabra más fácil con menos sílabas. ¿Te la sabes? Esa es la primera palabra. The second word is redada. Okay? This is when the police come in and they say, all right, everybody down. And they're coming to get drugs or weapons or something like this. Que cuidado, no es weapons, weapons. Imagínate esa palabra sin la A. Weapons. Porque he oído mucha gente decir weapons. Porque muchas veces la E y la A en inglés es I, ¿no? Como tear. Pero en este caso no. Weapons. Weapons. So, también es hacer una redada. O sea, como en muchos casos en inglés, puede ser el sustantivo, or we can verbify it, ¿no? Verbificar, como decimos, convertirlo en un verbo. Ok, te doy una pista de la segunda, porque también significa saquear. Lara Croft. Lara Croft, ¿conocéis el videojuego, la película? Lara Croft. Mi hija se llama Lara, no por eso, pero... All right, the first word, ride. Ride. It's an irregular verb, so a ver si te la sabes. Every day, I ride my motorcycle. Yesterday I rode my motorcycle. Una forma muy fácil de acordarte del pasado. I rode my motorcycle on the road. Otro homófono, right? It's a good way to remember. Rode y road suenan igual, right? I rode my motorcycle down the road. And the last one, lately, Did you say riding? No, sería ridden. He oído mucha gente decir riding. No es riding, es ridden. So, the first word is ride. The second word, raid. Raid. Do they sound the same? No, they don't. Pero entonces, ¿por qué en España mucha gente dice Tomb Raider? Si no suenan igual, sería Tomb Raider. Y es muy fácil. ¿Cómo dices tumba en español? Pues tomb, igual tomb raider, Tomb Raider. Y claro, una de mis películas favoritas, tan, taran, tan, tan, taran, Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. Hey, we can learn a lot from movies.
You're joking.
Hello and welcome to You're Joking. My amigos, do you know any good jokes? Otra forma de decirlo. Have you heard any good jokes lately? ¿Has oído alguno bueno últimamente? Have you heard any? Y otra que decimos también, cuando contamos un chiste decimos, stop me if you've heard it, or stop me if you know it. O sea, si ya te sabes el chiste, no te lo cuento. Si es uno muy común, por ejemplo, uno de toda la vida. All right, why was the cowboy always in the driver's seat? Now remember, in a car, you have the driver's seat, you have the passenger seat, and you've got the back seats, right? So, you've got the passenger seat. Well, depende. Si estás en Inglaterra, cambiamos, right? Passenger and driver is on different sides. But you know what I mean, the driver's seat. De hecho, es una expresión también. You've got to sit in the driver's seat. Eso es, tienes que coger control de la situación, de tu vida. Tiene todo el significado, tiene todo el sentido del mundo, right? If you think about it, right? You've got to sit in the driver's seat. All right, so why was the cowboy, and cowboy is vaquero, y vaquera, cowgirl, y vaqueros, jeans. That's right, vaqueros, lo que nos llevamos puesto, right? jeans. All right, so why was he in the driver's seat? Because he can steer there. No? Did you get it? No? All right, well, in the car, you have the driver's seat, and if you're in the driver's seat, then you have a wheel, which is called a steering wheel. So you can say grab the wheel or grab the steering wheel. And how do we say manejar el coche? To steer. Steer to the left, steer to the right, and you use that with the steering wheel. Otra vez, tiene mucho sentido. But also steer is cabestro, right? Cowboys, they go out there with their lasso after the steer. It's not the best joke in the world. Well, I was trying to grab the bull by the horns. Okay, grab the bull by the horns. We use that expression too. Yeah. And another one, which I love, when somebody tells you that they have experience with something, it's not the first time they've done it. You say, this isn't my first rodeo. So if somebody says, Alberto, you do that really, really well, I would say, this isn't my first rodeo. No es mi primer rodeo. Y no ando con rodeos. Pero ojo, ¿sabéis? La calle famosa en Beverly Hills, donde se va de compras, esa no se dice rodeo. Rodeo en Texas and rodeo. Yes, hay que decirlo así, con Rodeo Drive. And that's one of the most famous shopping streets in Los Angeles. So don't mix them up, because you'll find very different people on Rodeo Drive than you will at a rodeo. I've been on Rodeo Drive. I've never gone into the shops. I can't afford that stuff. But you know what? Now that I think about it, I've never been to a rodeo. So it would be my first rodeo. Hello and welcome to Fun Facts. Today we're going to talk a little bit about automobiles, vehicles, or cars. I guess that's the easiest way to say it. Bueno, a ver si lo sabes decir. Vehículo, vehicle. Y la H es muda en inglés también, vehicle. No es tan fácil esa palabra, pero siempre puedes decir car. ¿Y camión? Truck, truck. O los británicos dicen lorry, lorry. He drives a lorry. We would say he drives a truck. ¿Y furgoneta? A van. Hay que decir esa V, van, van. Well, let me ask you a question. Any car fans out there? Amantes de coches? I personally don't like cars. I don't get it. No lo pillo. Now, I love airplanes, but cars, they don't fly. They don't do anything special to me. They just roll down the road. Now, a plane, the moment it takes off, there's magic happening, right? When that plane comes off the ground, you know a lot of smart people calculated the weight, the speed, so that at the perfect moment, it lifts off the ground, what seems to be effortlessly. And cars, well, they go, they stop. I don't get it. Now, I know there are some beautiful cars there, but I never got that obsession. But I know that many people do love cars, especially in my country. Every weekend, there's a car show. Antique cars. Oh, I'm lying. I do like antique cars. Well, I like anything with a little nostalgia in it. So when you go to an antique car show, it's pretty cool. Well, how many parts do you think you can find in current cars, actuales, los coches que usamos hoy en día? How many parts, piezas, do you think you can find? Did you say 10,000? No. Did you say 20,000? More. What if I told you around 80,000 parts in a car? That's including nuts and bolts, tuercas, all that kind of stuff that goes into a car, right? Now, that's pretty crazy because personally, I don't know what any of them are called. And I remember when I lived in the United States and I would take my car to the mechanic and I would say, hey, my car's acting funny. Está comportándose un poco raro. Hay algo que le falla. The mechanic could make it up. Podría inventarse una pieza y decirme, well, you've got a problem with your Papadopoulos. And I say, oh no, the Papadopoulos is broken? So I think it's good to know about cars, especially if you drive one, because, well, there are 80,000 around, alrededor de 80,000 different parts in a car. That is mind-blowing.
Double trouble, baby. Yeah, you know what time it is. Double trouble.
Hello and welcome to today's Double Trouble here on the show with no name. As always, this is a translation with a twist. Yeah, the twist is you have to use the same word twice because in this section, we look at words with double meanings. Are you ready? Here we go. Le echaron del trabajo. Okay? Le echaron del trabajo. Así que cargó el maletero de su camión. Okay? Le echaron del trabajo. Así que cargó el maletero de su camión. All right. Le echaron. He was fired. He was dismissed. He was let go. Esa es mi favorita. We have to let you go. Eso significa que tenemos que dejar ir, pero realmente es una forma políticamente correcta de decir, hasta luego, Lucas. So, to let someone go, right? To lay off. Estas son las formas suaves de decirlo. Oh, John was laid off. John was let go last week. Más brutos, he was fired. Eso sí que es más bruta, right? He was fired. He was canned last week. Enlatado, we say too. He was canned. Pero otra forma de decirlo es, he got the boot. ¿Lo pillas? Recibió la bota. See you later. Hey, it's an easy one to remember if you visualize it. He got the boot. To get the boot means to be fired. All right, we've got the first part. Vamos a por la segunda parte. So, he loaded up. Cargar is to load. ¿Lo sabéis? De descargar, to download. Subir, to upload. Pues subir a secas o cargar a secas is to load or to load up. So, he got the boot, so he loaded up the boot of his lorry. ¿Qué? ¿Lorry? ¿Pero no es como lo dicen en inglés británico? Sí, pero porque boot también es inglés británico. O sea, si decimos la segunda parte en inglés americano, we would say, he loaded up the trunk of his truck. O sea, dos palabras en esa frase que cambian dependiendo si estamos en Estados Unidos o el Reino Unido, right? So, el Reino Unido, y vamos a decirlo con ese acento inglés, he loaded up the boot of his lorry. Ahora en inglés americano, he loaded up the trunk of his truck, man.
The totally native saying of the day. And it goes a little something like this.
Oh, man, I can't believe it. I'm lost. I had to stop over here and ask for directions. And you know what? As a man, we don't like asking for directions. Why? Because we know everything. Of course, it's not us. They changed everything here. This wasn't there before. I hate asking for directions. But sometimes, well, it's okay to ask for help. And we can apply that to our English as well. That's what your teacher's for. I'm here to guide you, to steer you in the right direction. Hablando de coches. steer, dirigir, right? To steer you in the right direction. Hacer que estés por el buen camino, right? To steer you. But there's one thing I hate, and I'm sure you hate these people too. I'm talking about backseat drivers. Do you like backseat drivers? The person they don't have to literally be sitting in the back seat, but the person who's telling you how to drive the whole time. Oh, no, I would have made a left there. Oh, I would have made a right there. Oh, you need to slow down. Why did you, that was yellow. You should have, and that's when I turn around and they say, why are you looking at me? I said, well, because you're making me look at you instead of the road. So please, don't be a backseat driver. Oh, and another thing I loathe is another way of saying hate. I detest, I loathe Sunday drivers. Does that sound familiar? In Spain, they say domingueros. Yeah, these are people who take their time, who don't make decisions. They just are going through the streets like this and slowly. Oh, and people who don't use their blinkers, los intermitentes. Oh, and people who cut you off, que se entran en tu carril demasiado rápido. I guess I just hate driving in general.
Lights, camera, action verbs.
Oh man, you're not going to believe this. I am having the worst day ever. I ran out of gas. Can you believe that? I should have filled up the gas tank before I went on the road trip, but I ran out of. Do you know this phrasal verb? To run out of es quedarse sin. I ran out of gas. O se puede decir directamente, I'm out of gas. Me quedé sin gasolina. A no ser que seas británico. And do you know what they call it? Petrol. Yeah, they say, I ran out of petrol, so I have to stop at the petrol station to refuel. In American English, we say, I ran out of gas, so I have to stop at the gas station to refuel. I guess I shouldn't have put the pedal to the metal. Do you know this expression? To put the pedal to the metal es pisar el acelerador hasta que esté al metal. Traducción, pisarlo fuerte. And we have two ways to say that. You can say, put the pedal to the metal, man. Come on. Or step on it. ¿Te suena? Es como decir, písalo. Put the pedal to the metal me gusta más, porque rima. So, next time you're going slow, remember, if you want to speed up, y ahí tenemos los phrasal verbs, speed up, acelerar. Slow down, ralentizar. I love it when English makes sense.
Name that movie.
Hello and welcome to Name That Movie. Today we're going back to 1989 when I'm not going to tell you my age because then I'm dating myself. No, to date yourself no es salir en una cita contigo mismo. En este caso, to date yourself es enseñar o demostrar tu edad. But I remember this movie, Driving Miss Daisy. That's right. Driving Miss Daisy with Morgan Freeman. Let's take a look at this scene. They're walking to Daisy's house and they notice a car in the driveway. Okay? The driveway es donde aparcas. Es este pavimento que ves delante de las casas americanas, donde está el garaje. That's called a driveway. La gracia, no conduces ahí, aparcas ahí. Se debería llamar a parkway. Pero ¿sabes lo que es parkway? A parkway es una autovía de peaje. So why do you drive on the parkway and park in the driveway? Somebody had a sense of humor there. And then Hoke says, now, what do you suppose he's doing here this early in the morning? Te estoy dando mi acento sureño. And Idela says, Don't know. Don't know es I don't know. Se escribe do know, pero se dice don't know. Don't know. Can't be good. No puede ser bueno. I promise that. Y ojo con esta palabra, promise, no promise. Promise. I remember this movie, Driving Miss Daisy. It drives me crazy.
It's time for the multiple choice challenge.
Hello and welcome to our multiple choice challenge. I have 3 examples. 1 is correct. Which one is it? A, do you know when he was born? A, do you know when he was born? B, do you know when was he born? Do you know when was he born? Or C, do you know when he borned? C, do you know when he borned? Which one is correct?